Councilman, are you all ready?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Technician, on your cue. All right, everybody. Thank you all for coming in. The City of Cotulla City Council will meet for a regular meeting on Thursday, May 11th, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the Alexander Convention Center Conference Room, 290 North IH 35 X's Road, Cotulla, Texas. This is an open meeting subject to open meeting laws of the state of Texas. Roll call. Looks like Mr. Alejandro Garcia is not here. Did he call in?
He did call in, he said he was still working.
Okay. Councilman, I need a first motion to excuse Mr. Rodriguez. First by Mr. Cotulla, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 3. Will everybody please join me on the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Citizens to be heard. City Council cannot discuss any present issue, nor may any action be taken on any given issue at this time. Ms. City Secretary, I believe we just have one citizen comment. Mr. J.D. Rodriguez. If you'd like to go to the, welcome.
Welcome, sir. Good evening, City Council members, Mayor, City Manager. I just want to say, I'm sorry, I just got here from Eagle Pass, so I'm sure you've seen the news, you've seen the recent stuff in the border. I'm here today. I just want to say thank you for your cooperation and your partnership with DPS. I know I've met with David a couple of times and requested the Civic Center for some events that DPS has, some award ceremonies and some recently a landlord's meeting that the DPS, the residents of Cotulla in the South County, you've seen them in the past, just asking if we can use that space, and I really appreciate giving us the opportunity to use the building. And I just want to say, from here in person, thank you for giving us that opportunity and giving us working with us on those things. And I know we actually have an event scheduled tomorrow, but because of everything that's going on, it actually got canceled late last night. And I let the city manager know and the city staff know this morning. Also, your man here at the Civic Center, I let him know because they actually had planned coming in today to help decorate for tomorrow's event. But unfortunately, all that got canceled because of all the recent events at the border. So, again, I'm just here in person just to say thank you for giving us, working with us, having us a partnership, and we're here to help you guys out. The city, the county, whatever, we're here to help us out. We're here to help you guys out, the citizens. Our main objective is public safety, protecting and serving. So we're here to help you guys out. If you guys have any questions or need any help, I'm here. You guys can always reach out to me. Most of you guys have my number. My office there. So if you guys need anything, just let me know. And I just want to say thank you again.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. Moving on to Departmental and Committee reports. Water and wastewater.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, and Mr. Wright. On the water, for the month of April, right now our aquifer is standing at 504 feet. April's water demand was 23,963,000 gallons, with a daily demand of 1.16 million gallons. Also, that's pretty much what I have. Just and we added 580 feet of 2-inch water line down Guadalupe Street. That's pretty much all I have right now on the water.
I know the aquifer is going to probably go up due to the rain that we had, and the one is coming up this weekend. Right now, are you having problems with any of your tanks?
No, just like I said last month on the Carrizo well, that it's down. We're looking at still using the infrastructure there. So we're still trying to get that taken care of. But
there's an agenda item for tonight that's going to actually address that.
Okay.
So we'll get to cover it.
Okay. I noticed that y'all be painting the tanks, and that's good. You know, that's-
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We're, and that's still ongoing. We're still not done, but we're, when weather permits, we do try to do that.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And on the wastewater, they're at the sewer line project. They have installed 1,000 feet of. We did get yesterday. Late yesterday we got confirmed that we got the permit for TxDOT to do, along Highway 97. So once they finish there on Airport Road, though, that's the next and final step. There is the finishing up that sewer line. And that should be done here hopefully pretty soon.
So they're gonna bore under 97.
Yes, sir. They have to, and they have to bore there. So, like I said, late last night we got the confirmation that the permit was approved, and that's pretty much it on wastewater as well. So,
Any date of completion on that?
sir.
On the,
Right now, I know they've been having some issues there on Airport Road due to all the big rocks there. But other than that, they haven't given me a complete final date on that.
no problem. Yeah, that area has a lot of rocks.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Mr. Jimmy?
No, sir.
Not, Mr. Jimmy, thank you very much for that report.
Well, I'm gonna also give the gas report.
Yes, okay, thank you.
For the month of April, there were 2 gas leaks that were reported and repaired on the same day. 42 line locates. Also, we have cut down the number of staffs that were doing the training. They're down to 4. There's only been 4 that have actually started doing the training. Also, the leak survey will be done later on this month. And as far as the market gas price, it's at $3.69 a cubic foot.
Probably want to mention, the reason we cut down on the amount of staff to do training because there was actually a lack of interest in actually doing the training. And we had paid to have, I think it was 15 people enter the training, which agreed to do the training. And we found that we only had 3 and 4 that were actually interested in being interactive to do it. So that's why we cut down on it.
You're fine.
And that, I mean, everybody had the opportunity. We told them that they needed computers or, they could use them, but just, the lack of interest was, everybody was for it, and then afterwards it just.
And those that were in the training were city workers?
Yes, sir.
Am I correct by saying that when they go out in the field, they go with an individual that is certified and another one that's not certified to do the work? Am I correct?
Yes, that is correct. We have one individual that is doing his field qualifications at this point, and I believe he's completed 20 of the 23 qualifications. So 23 qualifications required for the city of Cotulla. He can perform 20 of them. That he's not qualified for, I have to bring somebody into that is qualified.
Okay.
So, and then of course people work for him, under his qualifications.
Appreciate it. No more questions.
Anything else from Mr. Jimmy, Councilman?
No, sir.
Thank you for the report. Streets and parks. Mr. Thomas?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, Mr. Wright. The street personnel demolished a structure at 610 Altavista Street. The structure was a nuisance, so we demolished that structure. We also removed 2 trailer frames and debris from Harrison's RV trailer park at 603 North Main. And the customer paid the fee. We also we helped Mr. Roman at the Civic Center. We installed a chain link fence behind the Civic Center. We also removed some caliche on the corner of Leona and Kerr Street due to a water leak repaired by the water department and refilled with cold asphalt. We also utilized the walk-behind saw to cut a spur of pavement on Second Street, again to a water leak repaired by water department, and we refilled it with cold asphalt. We also mowed grass utilizing the tractor and weed eaters on Atito, Pecos, Highway 97, and Gulf Street. And we also utilized the air sweeper to remove some of the debris and dirt from cities and curbs. And that's all I have. Anybody any questions?
I have one or two.
Okay.
Is Robbie in charge also of the project that is going on right now on Southwest Lane? Is he entitled to communicate with the inspector?
Yes, he can communicate. I don't think to date that you've made much communication with them. I have talked to Jorge Martinez, the engineer, and I have been in communication with him directly.
The reason I was asking, because I know that there's drainage problem on Hickey Street.
Yes.
Was wondering what is the plan for Hickey Street? I know what the plan is for Southwest Lane, but for Hickey Street, due to an incident that happened on this gentleman or lady that lives in Hickey Street with the water flowing in the property, but the house is in a low plane. But to eliminate the problem, I was just wondering if there's something.
So yeah, Southwest Lane, obviously there is a plan. There's a plan to redirect water towards the retainment pond by the park.
Correct.
Hickey Street has been looked at, and we have found that line is going under properties and houses. And we have talked about maybe doing a pipe bursting project, but we have not materialized this project yet. And it is going to be very costly directly from city funds. And I would imagine in time we're going to go ahead and do it.
Right.
So, but I recognize it. I saw it for years. Something does need to be done there. It floods and it fills up and it just goes everywhere.
Yeah, that's not just Hickey, it's also that other street in between Lane and Hickey, right behind Yoloro Martinez's house as well. Is it Goodwin? Yeah, that one also needs work, but I guess we probably need to do one at a time because we're using city funds for that.
That's correct.
They didn't include that in the project, right?
No,
No.
that section was not included. So they are redoing, everything's on Southwest Lane. The actual storm drain that's there, they are redoing that storm drain. But the piping going through, there's nothing happening. So, and we are gonna have to do something in the future with it.
So all that water's gonna be going to that retaining pond.
That is the plan, that it should go to the retaining pond and it should follow the storm drain that was put in a few years back, heading down to the Mustang Creek.
Right.
Runs through Monterey Street.
And there's a pipeline that goes to the Mustang Creek.
There is, I think it's a 36-inch they
Yeah.
buried there, going down Monterey to Mendiola, that comes out right next to the creek. So that's kind of the plan, is to redirect it.
There's a lot of improvement on that area, and unfortunately, we can't do them all at the same time, but we know of these problems. They've been addressed many, many times for years, so I guess we can say we can either do one at a time, especially if they're gonna be extremely costly. Pipe bursting must not be very cheap, so it's probably very expensive. So
I'll start, I'll not start, but I'll go ahead and further conversation with the engineer, the Jorge Martinez, and see what he comes up with.
Are we, the city, also in charge of taking care of portions of this Martinez Park?
The county, the city does have a section of the park that we own and that we do maintain.
Okay.
Where the swings and the slide and that section there is actually owned by the county.
Okay.
And ours is just a small parcel, and then they have everything around it.
Okay.
So, and then there has been some work done actually at all of our parks. We did establish a parks department, and I know that they've done some replacement of benches and painting on the city portion at Martinez Park, along with the Plaza Florida, Front Street, and of course the Veterans Park. So they've actually, every day they're dedicated to enhancing the parks.
Okay. Appreciate it. No more questions.
anything else, Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Thank you very much for that report, Mr. Thomas. Sanitation. Mr. Martinez, thank you for coming in.
Mayor, Mr. Wright, the transfer station solid waste April 2023 monthly report, we had a total of 33 total trips done. 32 were to the landfill. One was to the metal auto salvage. 21 compactors, which consists of commercial residential trash for 282.65 tons, 300 pounds of trash was picked up in April. At the transfer station, we collected 48 tons, 96,000 pounds, where the citizens go and dispose of their trash on Wednesdays and Saturdays. We had the demolition that Mr. Thomas discussed about, 23.78 tons, 47,580 pounds was collected for that demolition. The metal that was taken was 3.55 tons, for a total of 7,100 pounds of metal was collected for the month of April. Also, just letting y'all know that the cleanup for this month has been moved to next month, June the 10th, due to some graduations activities at the Plaza Florida. So that'll be June the 10th. Also, besides our weekly and monthly maintenance, the small garbage truck was taken to Rush for the state inspection, which passed the inspection. So at this point, all the trash trucks, along with the roll-offs, have passed the state inspection for the year.
I have one question for you.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned something about the metal steel that you accumulated. Has that been
Yes, sir.
the money wise? To what department does it go to? Or to what fund?
I believe it goes in the general fund.
The general fund? Okay, appreciate it.
Any other questions for Mr. Martinez?
No, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez, for
Thank you,
that
Mayor. Thank you, council members.
report. Main Street,
She's ill, Mayor, she wasn't
Okay.
able to make it, so they have a written report in their.
excellent. Accounting. Mr. Garcia, thank you for being here.
Good evening, Councilman, Mayor, Mr. Wright. I'll let y'all get to the report. The first report up is the sales tax collections. And in May, the city received $221,869, which is a 29% increase from the prior year. And since October, our total is $1,551,584. On the next page is the hotel motel collections report. In April, the city received $182,355, which would be a total of $831,829. And on page 5 is the general fund totals. The total revenue for the general fund is $1,803,818. Total expenditures are $1,698,790, which nets us $105,028. On page 8 is the water sewer fund. The total revenue for the water sewer fund is $1,415,503. Total expenditures are $917,204, which nets us $498,298. The totals for the gas fund are going to be on page 10. The total revenue for the municipal gas fund is $249,976. Total expenditures are $138,357, which is a net income of $111,619. On page 12 is the solid waste fund. Solid waste fund totals are total revenue is $487,810. Total expenditures are $583,323, which is a net loss of $95,513. And the last report attached is a check register report. And that concludes my report. Is there any questions?
On page number 12, the expenditures, I know you mentioned it was 583,000.
Yes, sir.
Is it on supplies and labor costs?
Yeah, I think most of it's still from the recovering from that water truck we bought. The previous total here on the expenditures was, well, if you subtract the last expenditures from this expenditure, we've actually covered a difference of $18,000. So we're working our way back up to being positive. Yes, sir.
It's for the garbage truck, right?
Yes, sir.
Councilman, any other questions for Mr. Garcia?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia, for that report. Animal control.
Mayor, he could be here this evening. He traveled to Round Rock to try to get the cage installed in the truck, but it was too small, so they could really need their truck.
Okay. Building and maintenance.
Good evening, City Council,
Superman.
Mayor, Mr. Wright. Enclosed is a package that I included on y'all's.
In the report, so in the report here, he has just miscellaneous items that he worked on throughout the month. He was also gonna talk about the street painting, the parking lot here painting project.
Yes, we're in the process of doing that parking lot, all those restriping again. And also, we're in the process of putting that sign back again, the original design back again.
Which sign is that?
The entry,
Oh, the arch.
the arch,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Is he gonna put it on a higher level or is it gonna be in the same?
The same
Same.
thing, same level.
Will they have more reflectivity for any bigger trucks to see, or?
We got some quotes already to get some lights, some reflector lights in there.
I believe there was gonna be a sign put up to acknowledge that it was the distance above and all that.
Okay.
Also, I had correspondence with TxDOT about the sign. The hesitation of putting the sign up was that we did not know to what extent TxDOT was gonna widen the road here on the access road. And I had correspondence with TxDOT last week telling us that they're actually not gonna widen the road. They're gonna lay over currently what's there and they're gonna put a sidewalk next to it. And that we could go ahead and put our sign back where we had it. So, and that was the hesitation because I didn't know with TxDOT was how wide they were gonna go. So they finally communicated and then we moved with the project.
Councilman, any other questions?
Just one.
Yes, sir.
In front of the building, what is the status on, I guess, were y'all gonna install some more rock into it?
Actually, I've asked Mr. Thomas to get some pea gravel, and we're also looking into river rock to put here at the convention center to help beautify the convention center, also on Front Street and all the flower beds.
Okay.
I believe he's working with Martin Materials to be able to make that happen. We're gonna actually take the city dump truck, go pick it up and bring it over here. Then the Parks Department and the street will more likely go out and assist and spread it.
Thank you. No more questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roman, for that report. Moving on to item number 6, approval of minutes, April 13, 2023.
I have one question before we go any further.
Okay,
On item number 8, on,
municipal court.
no, I'm sorry, on item number 5, letter A.
Municipal court.
On this one, is there any more add-ons to that?
We cannot legally add anything to that.
Will it be up till we approve item number 8?
Yeah, this actual agenda item is not relevant to that report there. We're
Yeah,
going with
I know
another.
it's not matching that, but after this item is approved, then it will be affected.
No, not for that agenda
Not
item.
for that.
We're gonna come with another agenda item. We
Yes,
actually have to modify the city ordinance.
That's the,
Separate deal.
Can that be
Sanitation.
implemented on the next agenda?
sanitation
That's up to
ordinance.
Mr. Pena, I think he's actually working on that.
Yes, we actually have the,
This is for the dumpster ordinance.
yeah, we have, it's ready to go.
Okay, this is a separate one from that one, though. It's still, Mr. Dovalina emailed you about, we're looking at the actual ordinance for the residential and commercial.
Yes. Okay. No, I haven't worked on that one. No.
So it may take a little bit.
Okay, all right.
Probably gonna be a couple months on that one.
To require them to have a certain size,
Correct.
yeah.
So it's, yeah.
I'm trying to remember, I think I looked at our ordinance.
Our current ordinance has 3 tiers of commercial service, light commercial, heavy commercial, which both consist of a certain amount of 30-gallon trash cans.
Mhm.
Light being 3, and then the heavy being up to 6. And then you go into dumpster service, which the city provides to the RV parks and to the residents that request it. But we were trying to look for something that's a little more uniform along the commercial aspect of it.
I'll have that to you.
Okay, understood.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions on departmental reports?
No, sir.
Moving on to item number 6, approval of minutes, April 13th, 2023. Councilman, did you have a little bit of time to review the minutes?
Yes, sir.
Ms. City Secretary, was there any changes to the minutes? I seek a first motion to approve item number 6. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, first motion by Mr. Septuche, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, discussion of possible action on a resolution of the city of Cotulla certifying the election results of the general election held in the city of Cotulla, LaSalle County, Texas, on May 6, 2023. You have anything on that?
Well, I guess I can speak out the results. This was concerning the charter for the city of Cotulla. And the vote came out for 108 votes and against at 311, so the charter did not pass. And I imagine we're looking for certification to approve the vote.
Seek a first motion to approve item number 7.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Trujillo, need a second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, discussion and possible action on an ordinance of the city of Cotulla establishing a solid waste franchise policy allowing the grants of use of municipal roads and alleys for solid waste franchise and authorizing the city administrator to establish rules, regulations for implementation requiring franchising to meet uniform minimum conditions, authorizing the court compliance office official to inspect and assure enforcement, including the assurance of stop work orders and citations for non-compliance, declaring a public purpose, providing a penalty, providing a repeller, providing for severability, incorporating recitals, and setting an effective date.
So
I'd like to address this. This was something that came up. I don't think it's a big problem in the city, but we do have seen some other waste haulers come in and bring their larger roll-off containers. I know there was at least a couple of them here in town. The school was using one, and at the Old Hood Clinic, I saw another one there. In a way, it may be. I don't think it's a real big problem, because what has occurred is these, at least the school, I believe, had contacted a hauler because we couldn't provide the capacity
The
that
size
they
of
wanted.
capacity. Mhm.
I don't recall what happened at the Hood Clinic, but I also spoke to Mr. Wright last week about the Dairy Queen because I noticed there was another container there, and then when he got back with me, he said no, that we had told them we couldn't provide it.
We were not able to service them.
Right. So what this ordinance does is, if you have a hauler that wants to come in and provide services in addition to, the city has an exclusive franchise. We provide our own waste hauling services, including construction debris, and I think that's it. We don't do any hazardous stuff. But if these guys come in and they want to do it on a regular basis, we can set up a franchise agreement with them. And if the city, if you read the ordinance, it says when we either choose not to or cannot provide the service. So this is not something that's directly competing with the city. There may be reasons why we decide we can't do it at the time or whatever. There's a fee they have to pay, and then there's, I think, a 6% franchise fee that they have to pay us. I'm not sure how we handle this when we have a one-off, like the Dairy Queen. Is it better just to have the council say, okay, it's not like they were sneaking in and doing it without telling us. I think that's the problem, right? If you have somebody coming in and not telling you about it. But you can have this on your books. We could amend it and give the city manager the ability, or city administrator, the ability to grant them a 30-day waiver or something of that sort. There was a proposal, and I forget the name of the hauler out of Laredo, and it was some horrible contract.
Threshold.
Yeah. And apparently they're not doing it anymore anyway. So after, sometimes these things come to me and I don't know all the background, but now I think I know the background. And I think I would recommend that you approve it, but also let me go back and add a provision that gives the city administrator the authority, because it is somewhat of a burdensome thing for them. If they've got one project, or I don't think they have any more than one project. And if they understand that they got to come back every 30 days, and if we can provide the service, we're going to.
Right.
And I'm not sure why we're not providing it. Do we just not have the
No.
roll-offs, or we have too many
No.
other?
Yeah. Part of it is that we don't have the roll-offs. These roll-off dumpsters, they run between $6,000 and $7,000. And then we take into consideration the current rates. We're probably collecting $200+ per month for the dumpster, and it takes us a couple years to recoup the money just for the dumpster. So, but we are currently doing a rate study to make adjustments to this, but we just don't have it in place at this point. The city, we do recognize sometimes we will not have the dumpsters, and we will tell them, okay, well, Southern Sanitation, or find somebody else that you can use. The main problem with that is the income. So we're already hurting a department that is hurting. And the 5% franchise fee would be payable to the city, 5% of what they're making off of it. So we continue to gain income, and like Mr. Pena said, we have this exclusivity in the city, so we should be getting something off of it.
Right. And I don't know, is it a solution in search of a problem, or is it an issue here? I've only noticed it recently because I've been looking. I'll drive around, look at stuff. And it's not widespread. There's not that much construction going on here.
On the permit itself, I know they have to get a permit through the city, and it costs, I'm roughly guessing $15 to $20. I'm not really sure offhand. But can that be implemented also in asking, are y'all going to bring your own containers? If they are, can the fee be added on to the permit?
Okay, so I read the ordinance today. I got a chance to read it today, and I see that there's there's an introductory charge per year of $1,000 on top of the franchise fee. So when they come in and say, okay, we want to do business in the city, and the city is going to decide who they can do business for, we're going to say, okay, well, it's $1,000 fee plus the 5%. It's in the ordinance that way. That's how it was set up.
Right.
That's the old ordinance.
That's
a new one.
That's the new ordinance.
And I think if I recall right, it's good for a year.
Right, December 31st.
Right, so that they all expire on the same day, so that we're not trying to figure out who's got a valid, has paid the permit fee or not. But I think that the thing that came up, or at least once I knew more about it, and I spoke to Mr. Dovalina as well, is that, I mean, it's hard to tell them, get your dumpster out of here when we're the ones that told them to go get the dumpster. So, I mean, you can't really do that. But you could say, okay, yeah, you can bring your own dumpster in, but you got to pay us something.
Right.
And I mean, if you want to do that, or if you want to give the, amend the ordinance to let the city administrator, if it, like I said, if it's a one-off or whatever, I don't know that that's necessary. That's what we've done. I'm not sure we can do that, but that's what we've done. I mean, they are using cities. The reason you get the franchise fees because they're driving over your streets and tearing things up, right? And they're doing stuff, and nobody has a right to use city streets without paying for it. I think it works. I mean, they honestly, like this Dairy Queen, what does he care? He's going to pass it along to the guy remodeling the place, right? And Southern is a big company. I mean, they may want to bring other dumpsters in here.
The one thing that I did read today in the ordinance is that there is a non-compete clause. So it would be up to us to decide if we want to or not. And my opinion of this is that I would like to see a place to where we have the dumpsters that we need to service the need in the city, to where we wouldn't have to do this at all. But currently in the place that we are, it's a necessity, and we're losing money. Hand over fist, we're losing money.
And how much is one of those?
And what's that? The dumpsters? Yeah. Those are running between 6,000 and 7,000 for the 40-yard.
And they don't last very long either.
No, they don't. We never recoup it. We really don't. So, but I mean, that's it.
So maybe the city just gets out of the business of providing those kind of roll-offs.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we want to do that, but
But you probably have a
we
lot
would
of
like to have
regulations
some
that you have to
control
do.
of it. Because everybody on the council knows, the city allows one, here comes everybody else. And and right now, I don't see that we have the authority to do anything about it. And that's what this ordinance is going to give us. It's going to give us the income, and it's going to give us.
Well, I think you have the authority to tell them, wait, you can't do it.
Yeah.
But the question is, do you have the authority to say, well, we're going to let you do it, but not this guy?
Right.
That's where you get into problems. So if you have a procedure in place, they may not like it, but it is a procedure. The commercial entity, that's part of the cost of doing business, and it's budgeted. I guarantee it. Whatever they gave those people at the Dairy Queen, it's in there. Now, what they figured the price was going to be, I don't know. Maybe
That's why I was saying that maybe implement something on the permit itself. If this permit's gonna consist of having dumpsters on site. If it is, then go ahead and charge that.
Yes.
I mean, you could do that.
Whatever is best for the city.
Because if you on the permit itself, if it doesn't say that, they're gonna go ahead and do the project, and they bring dumpsters. Well, it doesn't say on the permit. Anything about
The current ordinance shows that if they decide that they're not going to contact the city, and they're just going to go ahead and be negligent and bring their dumpster in, that there is a $2,000 per day fine that's in the current ordinance. So if that happens, I have a leg to send co-compliance out there, and we can fine them because they did not do what they were supposed to do. These companies, from what I've learned, they do know that every city they work for has this kind of deal going on, But they try to slip through, save a few bucks, and just forget us.
Correct.
So
We need a motion for it.
Well, I guess the question is, do you want to address it the way it was suggested to just include it with the permit fee, or do you want to actually grant franchises?
well, I'd probably like to grant franchises. So have a little more control of what's happening there.
And do you want the ability to be able to say, that's only 2 weeks, whatever,
Well, yeah, but my opinion on that is that everyone would have to pay. So that's going to be my opinion on it.
Yeah,
Now,
everybody
the
pays.
council passes ordinances, but it also can grant waivers if it wants to. So if the right case came in, you could do it, but they would have to come back here and ask for it.
That's right.
That's correct. That's generally like convention center and other aspects that we have. That's how it is currently. So case by case basis, if they want a waiver, they come to council.
It's not going to be a big money maker because there's just not that.
Yeah, but something's better than nothing.
David, on this item, is this only talking about containers or is it dumpsters also?
Well, this is going to be for dumpsters.
Dumpster.
8-yard, 16, 40-yard dumpsters.
Heck,
Whatever somebody brings in from the outside, that's what it's going to address.
He's asking it because an individual came up to me and is requesting a dumpster in between here in Fullerton because apparently the city does pick up in Fullerton, am I correct?
That's correct. We have some stops.
Well, this individual would like a dumpster in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And I told him to come to you and speak to you. And he said that he can fence in the dumpster. Only 3 or 4 families will use it and give the key to the city to give to the driver, whoever goes over there and picks it up.
Okay. Well, I sure look forward to speaking to him.
Okay.
As such, I haven't seen him at this point, but I'll sure speak
Yeah.
to him.
He just stopped me this weekend,
Okay.
but
Very good.
I'll send it your way.
So to answer your question, this applies to anybody who wants to bring in some kind of trash device other than cans,
Right.
So, I supposedly if they could get everything out of there in a trash can, they wouldn't need this, but they can't because there's stuff that has to be hauled off. Now, are they hauling any of that stuff to the dump here?
I haven't been approached for that. I would think that Southern's going to pick it up and take it to the Laredo landfill. That's generally what they do. So, and they're like you said, there isn't a whole lot of them in town, but there are some. I know right now there's 2 behind Flying J that I've seen. And that is really what I've seen, and that's it. But this will set the precedent.
And what are they doing with the ones at Flying J? Is it construction?
They're red dumpsters just sitting back there, and I don't see that there anything in them. Or I was actually out there last week because they have a water leak over there. But they're just sitting there, so maybe they're anticipating use. But we weren't notified; they're just there.
You also have one at Taco Palenque, at the parking lot. A red one.
Okay.
There's one there too. But they were doing remodeling inside the bathrooms at Taco Palenque. I don't know if that's the purpose that they put the dumpster there.
That would probably be if it's a remodel. They generally do that. People that build houses, they'll bring in a dumpster. From what I've seen, they'll
But
bring in
apparently
for
Taco
free.
Palenque does not have a permit on the window. Apparently.
Okay. Well, I can look into that.
Councilman, any other questions?
No, sir.
This we approved as presented, right? Giving the authority to the for franchisees. I seek a first motion to approve item number 8.
So moving.
First motion by Mr. Lopez, I seek a second. Second by Mr. Ayala, you said? By Mr. Ayala. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 9, discussion of possible action to approve a fee estimated submitted by Seagull PME in the amount of not to exceed $20,161 for social economic surveying services.
Okay, this here, I actually have Mr. Gain Darial here, and he's gonna give a small presentation on it. This is for the socioeconomic survey for the city of Cotulla. The actual rate of what people are making was higher than what is required, or it's just actually higher than what Texas Water Development Board or other agencies will consider us for a grant or a loan. But he's gonna go ahead and speak on his quote.
Thank you for coming in, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council, and Mr. Wright. My name is John Villarreal. I'm with Siegel PME. We're a small Hispanic-owned engineering consulting firm with offices in San Antonio, New Braunfels, and Houston. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and your consideration of our proposal. I will start by giving a little bit of background on the requirements that Mr. Wright had mentioned, and then summarize the tasks of our study. It'll just be about 3 minutes or so. So the Texas Water Development Board provides funding for the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund and the Clean Water State Revolving Fund programs. These programs are often used for funding of drinking water or wastewater infrastructure projects. And the city has used these sources of funding in the past. There's been some projects that the city has implemented that I think have been great assets for the city. To qualify for loan subsidies and grants under these programs, the Water Development Board requires that the entity's service area must have an annual median household income, roughly an average household income below a designated threshold. This has to be 75% of the state annual median household income, or basically the average. The Texas Water Development Board relies on information published by the U.S. Census Bureau for this determination. However, recent U.S. Census Bureau data for key parts of Cotulla City Center have missed data for the past 2 releases of that data set. And that has been the cause of, we believe, of the city not qualifying under this metric. So when the information is missing or inadequate, the Water Development Board requires a city to implement a socioeconomic survey, and that's what we're proposing to help with. This must be performed by a neutral party, so we qualify under that category. So the city would not be able to do it themselves, although we are definitely planning on working with the city. The proposal that we have provided to you is for data collection, coordination, and analysis to perform the socioeconomic survey. So our tasks include coordination with Texas Water Development Board, preparation of collection of digital information and preparation of maps, development and approval of the survey methodology, preparation of survey materials and outreach to publicize the survey, completion of the survey, and submittal of the survey findings to Texas Water Development Board. So as part of the effort, we will likely be required to do door-to-door surveys for the requirement that the Texas Water Development Board has is 30% of households. And just a real quick note, while I have your attention, to be successful, the process really does require participation and responsiveness from the community. We have to have 30% of the community be responsive to us, at least based on number of households. We have included in the proposal several steps to work alongside the city with staff to help notify the public about the effort and provide outreach and information so that we can help this process run more smoothly. So with that, I will make myself available to answer any questions that you may have.
You mentioned that it's going to require door-to-door.
Likely.
So
yes.
Is it almost similar to a census?
It is somewhat similar. The questions that we'll ask will be a little bit different. We're focused on the annual income for households.
So that's one of the questions you'll be asking the individuals, the amount of income they're earning and the amount of persons that are living in the household. Am I correct?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. I don't know. I know it's gonna be y'all's job to do that, but if we wanted to proceed this, I don't know, he mentioned that we, the city, have to do something to communicate with the public. Can a
Correct.
flyer be added to?
So forms of communication that we have is, of course, social media, our water bill, our website, and I plan on us utilizing all of our forms of communication that we have.
That fee that is stated here, is it gonna be a one-time fee or?
So our proposal is for time and materials. That is an estimated fee. If we are able to do it for less, we wouldn't charge you for the.
What do you estimate that the grant is gonna, or trying to seek for the city? Is there?
Actually, that might be a question for
Yeah,
you, David.
so currently there's no per se grant that we are looking for through Texas Water Development Board. And the main reason is because we know we don't have the ability to get a grant because we don't have what they need.
So it make it easier to apply for any type of grant with this.
Yeah, so we can't apply for anything unless we have
Correct.
this.
Correct.
Sir? Yeah.
What happened is that in the latest census, they took the whole county out of its impoverished status and made the median income higher than what it actually is. When you apply for the Texas Water Development Board loan, there's a certain portion that's a forgiveness, and it's based on whether the county is impoverished or not. By not doing the survey, you diminish the amount of the loan that is forgiven. And when you increase the impoverished rate of the county, you increase the forgiveness of the loan. So where you may have a loan for $1 million and have forgiveness of $500,000, if you don't do the survey, you end up paying much higher than what you actually need to pay. So in essence, it saves the city a lot of money in the long term because the census in this area is very inaccurate and it doesn't become comprehensive as they're proposing to do.
I don't have no more questions. I'm for it.
John, on that survey, are you looking for an accurate count as far as population or more or less? And if
Yeah.
you are, what kind of numbers are you looking on population?
So what we'll do is map out all of the areas of the city and define socioeconomic brackets within that, and we'll categorize them as such. What we want to do is the survey would need to be 30% of the overall, but we'll want to capture information from each of those, what we call clusters, those areas that have different socioeconomic indexes. We'll capture information from and then come up with the overall. And I can add one more thing to build off what the gentleman had just stated. So in the census, there's gaps within the city where there was no information provided within that census. And so we think that the reason that the city is no longer qualifying is because those large areas of the city had no information and were not used as part of those census estimates. But did I answer your question?
I got a question. When you're gonna collect the census database, are you gonna go with the city limits or outside the city limits?
Within the city limits.
Just within the city limits?
Yes, sir.
That's not counting the people that we give water outside of the city limits. Provide services.
No.
I don't believe so.
So John,
I think it is
in the
just the
application,
city
it should-
limits.
would it be at least a mile outside city limits? Would that be considered in the census too?
So,
Would be added
so
to?
yes. So the way that the census designates areas, and those areas don't necessarily fall within city limits. So within the current census data sets that we have, there's 3 areas that overlap the city. 2 of those include outside of the city limits within LaSalle County. One of those is just within the city, but there isn't good data on it.
Would that include like a correctional facility?
I'm sorry?
Could that include a correctional facility in the census?
Within the city?
It's not about, maybe about how many miles away from this is from the city, the detention facility?
Yeah, it's very close, within a half a mile.
It's something we can definitely
Some of the-
look into.
I think some of the questions here are focused more on the census and the economic survey here. What one means besides the census of calculating within the city is water connections.
Okay.
And there is a Texas Code 290 code that actually for water demand that we count connections and we times them by 3.
Okay.
And if I was to do that for permanent population in the city would be 5237. So that would be our permanent. But you got to take into consideration, we also have a transient population here, which 290 code also states that every hotel room within the city limits, it counts as 3 population.
Yep.
So if I was to take that into account, into the count of population here, we'd be in the 12 to 16,000 mark. So, and that's exactly what the code is. And that's how I would calculate it, because that's what's on the ground.
Because what I am understanding is apparently what's inside city limits and the outskirts of Cotulla have been annexed. Okay, but talking back, like Mr. Lopez said, the prison system, there's individuals there, but apparently what he's trying to grasp also out of it is the amount of income that the families or the people that live there, that's how they determine if we qualify.
Right, yeah, we're strictly looking at income of the people within the city limits. So we want to get below it's got to be below the poverty level.
Correct.
You know, and that's what we're trying to find out, is if that's where we actually are still, or if we've actually advanced. So.
I had a question. Once this is done, how long is this information good for? Till the next census?
10 years.
So you can keep using this data and apply until 2031?
33.
20, 30, 10 years.
10 years.
Well, then there's going to be another census in 2030.
But then you have, if that census also though has gaps in it, then this would be more accurate than what the census is. Correct?
Unless if it supersedes ours.
I would think it would only be good until the next census.
Until what?
Until the next census.
Yeah, that's what it is.
How willing are people to give you this information?
That's the challenging part, and that's why I would ask that the city make sure to help us outreach to your public and let them know that while we're collecting this information.
What is the participation rate you have to reach in order for the numbers to be valid?
30% of households.
And that's within the entire city?
Yes, sir.
You're not requiring from families to give you names or social security.
No, sir.
Anything like that. Just the amount of individuals and the amount of income
Correct.
that are living in that residence.
Correct.
Because the majority of people I know that they don't want to release a lot of information.
Right.
So it's hard.
Yeah.
So,
And it's
I'm willing to
important
give
that
it a
we
try.
have an accurate assessment of that information as well.
It would be
So-
520 households within the city is what you would have to reach.
That complied?
Yeah, that comply.
It'd be a challenge.
Yep. If there's no further questions for Mr. Dion Villarreal, I seek a first motion to approve item number 9. First one by Mr. Satucci. I need a second.
Aye.
Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Villarreal.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 10, discussion of possible action on a request submitted by Newman Ranch requesting water services to the property located north of the airport. Sir?
Evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, Mr. Wright.
Basically, ever since the development of the highway through the ranch, the southern part, when I speak of the southern part, the part south of the airport, that's approximately 800 acres. And there's the north part north of the airport, that's approximately 3,200 acres. The 800 has, been approached at times for possible things with the city, things of that nature. We don't know what the future is going to hold for the southern portion of our ranch, but we are seeing the development, the highway, businesses coming to Cotulla, and we've always, loved this city. And so in preparation, we're moving things to the northern side of the airport just in case. With that comes the need for fresh water, for a ranch foreman, for the housing, for family, for the leasers, for everything. We're needing fresh water. The closest fresh water runs along 97 off of, I believe it's called Airport Boulevard.
Mhm.
And so what we're asking is basically being able to run along 97 to our front gate. And that way we can run, approximately, depending on how big of a line you guys put in, whether it be, I've heard 4 to 6 inch, I've heard you don't need more than a 3/4 inch. Depending on that, we would like to run a 3/4 inch from our gate to our facilities. And we're currently in the process of, we've already transported facilities over there. There's more, we're working with Medina Electric to get electricity up there as well. We've already had those engineers come out. So we're really moving in the process. Now we're asking for water.
What is the distance from Airport Boulevard to your gate?
So approximately from Airport Boulevard to our gate is about 900 feet. The whole project is about 5,200, give or take, or excuse me, closer to 6,000. I know from the airport's current, where we were told the meter was, to their gate is about 600 feet. That's what we're asking be done. Obviously, that's up to you all. And then we have our own team that can take it from, if need be, from the airport's second gate along 97 to our gate and up. That way we kind of take some of the burden of trenching 97, things of that nature.
So as far as the city and myself, I'm not objective to do this. Once again, TCEQ code would require a 4-inch line to his property. We will be coming off a 12-inch line, and it's fairly close to the water tower, so I don't foresee there being any kind of pressure issue. But the minimum line for a main should be a 4-inch line. You have the other obstacle, which is going to be TxDOT. They're going to want a UIR, they're going to permit, they're going to want a plan submitted to their UIR system for approval, because we will be digging on TxDOT property to reach the ranch. Right now, the way it stands is that we are solely going out to the Newman property. We don't have anybody anticipated to connect to the line. So as far as costs, I would probably say that the Newman Ranch would probably cover the cost for everything.
From point A to point B.
Point A
Yeah.
to point B.
And my question after that, if we go ahead and approve this, will a portion be annexed?
Generally, that is what we do. When we run water into the county, we do ask for annexation into the city.
Because I remember there was a property behind the prison that we gave service and
Yeah,
automatically
the Johnny
we
Joe.
requested to be annexed.
Yeah.
So just
That's
wondering.
correct.
Yeah,
That is the
I'm not
normal
sure
practice.
whether this can actually be annexed, because I'm not sure
No.
where
The
it
connection.
is. But we can create what we did with Eagle Ford Homes over here, where they pay for it, but if other people want to connect to it,
Correct.
they can.
That was going to be the general plan. So,
They
but
can
to
charge.
date, there is nobody in between where we're connecting and his property. So, but in the future, if there was or something changed, then we would want to connect to the line.
This property, is it contiguous to the airport?
Actually, I think it is right next to city property where we take the brush and the ramas. So this property would be next to that.
The land is contiguous to the airport. You actually have pieces of land, both from their side and from
Mhm.
our side, that we want to trade at some point in time so we can close the gaps. And all you have to do is do the annexation of 97 directly to their gate. And then he can do a small annex of the tract of land where the living quarters are going to be and exclude the rest of the ranch.
That is correct.
So all of this property would be ag use, at least for now?
Yes, sir.
Voluntarily annexation.
Yes. But
And I
just
don't know.
Just for the home, wherever you're gonna be getting your services, not the entire ranch.
Correct. Yes, we have well water for certain things, but
We
for the
just
home.
have to look and see whether we can actually do it or not. You know, you can have them submit a petition and have that petition valid. I don't know.
Now you're just trying to annex a portion of it, right?
So all the city has to touch each other.
Correct.
And it's not that easy for general law city to annex.
And if I may, sir, my question is if you all do decide to annex and we're covering the entire cost of the project, I mean, I feel like that it should be somewhat split, just because if in the future you all decide to expand, go further or anything like that, I mean, we just paid for everything to be done. I mean, is there room for discussion on that?
I know there's a
That's-
development that's, like you mentioned, for future warehousing or.
Yeah, on the airport property that we currently own.
But they have water there.
And yeah, we do have.
No, but
water.
on that loop area where you're saying that he has it, so 8,000 acres?
Southern of the loop is
800.
800, northern is 32.
Okay, the 800 acres is also going to be developed for housings or anything that he wants to, whoever wants to bring businesses can. For right now, we're going to give services to him, but if he's going to do improvements,
yeah.
we can annex that area. correct?
Those type of improvements would totally change the dynamics of everything.
Yeah,
The-
4-inch
that
line's
one
not gonna
4-inch
work.
line is not going to handle any kind of large amount.
Yeah, and that would
Not
be
in the area.
needed to be discussed
Yeah,
about.
that is correct.
No, I appreciate it.
And I guess my question is, if there's a request for the city to pay for part of it, but the requester owns all the land, who else is going to participate? Who else would connect it?
You can do a reimbursement agreement for a 15-year term and turn around, and if anybody connects and uses that water line or gets tapped into that water line, you get them
Pay
to
him.
reimburse a certain cost back to the guy.
Similar
that
to
put
what
the
we did
thing.
with Chemo subdivision.
Well, but here's my question. Why don't you oversize the line to begin with?
That's what I'm saying, because for future,
Instead of putting a 4-inch line, put in whatever you think you need in there.
8, 10,
Well,
12.
That way,
Right.
we don't have to go dig it up and put another line in.
So the further, depending on the topo, and the further we get away from the tower, the bigger the line needs to be. So if you are saying, okay, we're gonna put a development there, I would go as big as we could, big as we possibly could, which would be the 12-inch that it'd be connecting to. But then you're getting into a cost that's, the price of PVC is triple. It's gone up, a lot. You're asking, even 600 feet, you're gonna be asking for a big price tag.
The city could say, well, he needs 4, we want 12.
Yeah, and we could.
He
flip
pays
it.
for 4,
And
we
we
pay
pay
We
for.
pay the difference.
pay
That's
for
right.
the-
And we've actually done
agree
that.
with that.
Because if you need to do that 10 years from now, it's going to cost you more than it's going to cost you today.
Right.
So you might as well do it.
Okay, then we can look into that.
Make an agreement with the 4 and the 6.
4 and probably a 10 or a 12.
Right, well, if we are, and Mr. Newman plans on having development out there of that magnitude,
That's a lot of land.
That would be
it would be worth it.
a discussion for.
But you're asking for water on 97 on the other side, on the north side of the airport. Am I correct?
Correct. It would actually be, yes, on the north side. I was actually just asking for the city for
the engineering, and maybe up to the airport's gate, which that's only 600 feet, and we could take care of the remaining 5,400 feet. That's what I was asking for. I didn't know if you had a need to go more, down 97,
I
but
don't think we do.
well then, I mean, we can go straight
But
from
we
the
can't.
meter if you give us the permission to, or text.
3/4 inch won't
No,
give
we
them the
need-
pressure is too far.
No, we need to be at least 4 or higher.
Mhm.
We need to be there. Now, once he gets on his property and he decides to put 3/4 inch and it's gonna go another 4,000 feet, and if it doesn't have the pressure, that's his.
And I was unaware what your current pressure is, if it's,
Yeah,
with
generally
PS.
throughout the city, it runs around 54 PSI. That's
Okay.
general pressure throughout the city.
Okay.
Even I would say where you're at, it may be a little bit higher, but it wouldn't be much.
Okay. Then, I mean, we can do all the work if need be. I just need the permission from, I guess, the city, TxDOT, and so that's what I came here today. But I don't want to, like the gentleman was saying, if there's any future plans, we go with 4-inch, and then you guys are like, well, we need a 6. That's just double the work. So.
But it's no go with them.
Okay, and we can do that. We can pay the difference. So, and I can actually have it. I'll have to have it designed to that effect because TxDOT's going to require a plan. So we can do all that.
So you're saying that there will be no annexation on this part?
Of the property that the house or the dwelling is.
Just
gonna
on
be
the
on.
house itself, just on
Right.
the house, because that's where the water.
But part of the issue, as Mr. Doblina was explaining, is that there is a parcel of land there between the Ramas and the airport that the city has a little interest in. So to add to the airport, so that's also a factor in this. And then we would of course.
Because I don't want it to come back on other individuals that add on water lines, like what happened in the prison area, that they automatically have to get annexed.
Right.
So I just wanted to clarify that.
Appreciate it.
I think what I would suggest if you want to do it is to have that service agreement where other people would have to pay in, say you turn around and sell some land to somebody else, right?
Yes, sir.
And then they want to tie into it. Then they have to pay
Right,
part of what goes in there. We'd have that, an agreement to voluntarily annex the property.
That was pretty, like, for all the projects that I've seen, it's been common that we've had, it has been common practice to do that. We have one on Guadalupe Street where we ran all the way out to 624 almost, and the gentleman paid for it 100%, and we still retain the availability to use the line or extend the line further if we needed to for other customers.
So 3 things: you voluntary annexation, have the service area agreement, and then an agreement that the city would pay to upsize the line beyond the 4-inch because he doesn't need it right now.
Correct. So yeah, the city would flip the cost for that.
Do you know
For
what
anything
that's likely to be?
Well, you're talking for pipe. Jimmy, you have current prices on pipe? Because I'm thinking you're talking 8-inch, you're talking at least about $40 a foot.
Somewhere around the neighborhood, but let me see, I know, I had some price quotes.
And the engineering?
And plus the engineering, which I'd have to get a task order and see what the engineer wants to charge. And of course, they'd have to facilitate the UIR through TxDOT. So there's a task
Do you
there.
want to do that first and then come back once you know what kind of numbers you're
It would be
talking about?
really good to do that. So I guess the council, I imagine we could approve him to have availability or have the water, but contingent on the price. Something like that, I guess.
So
Well, pending research and
what I would do
everything,
is
pricing.
table it till the next.
Right.
How long is it going to take you to get that information?
Well, we should have it by the next meeting. Within a month's time, I should be able to get it.
I think that it's a good idea, but right now you don't know what you're talking.
No, we don't know numbers.
I mean, I've seen engineering costs that are unbelievable.
So, and they're obviously higher for civil. So for these type of things, they tend to charge more.
And I'll bring my own set of numbers as well
Okay, very
from our team.
So yeah, and we'll see. I mean, we have some buying power, so we may possibly get it cheaper. I just don't know if.
And just so you guys wanting an 8-inch if this were to move forward, just so I know what numbers to get.
I would say an 8-inch. And we come off of 12 to 8.
Okay. And you're wanting to annex from wherever the current meter is to our gate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, and see you on the next meeting.
Absolutely.
So the motion will be to table it until the
We're gonna,
next
I need a
meeting.
motion to table item number 10
To the next meeting.
to the next meeting. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Sertuche. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 11, the documents were not in on time, so I'm asking the council for a first motion to table item number 11 as well. I need a first motion. First motion by Mr. Ayala. I need a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
$93 a foot.
Moving on to item number 12, discussion and possible action to approve a proposal submitted by Tetra Tech in the amount of $11,710 for the design of well number 5 connecting to water distribution system.
Okay, this water well, we've had a lot of conversation about this, our older water wells in the council meetings over the years. This particular well a few months back had a catastrophic failure of the pump, casing, outer casing, well casing. It's at the point where it's time for us to retire it, abandon it. There's water being infiltrated from the higher aquifer into this well. We want to abandon it. So at that point, we have all that infrastructure on the property. We have a 500,000 gallon ground storage tank. We have booster pumps. We have electrical. I'm going to omit the tower from this because the tower operates a little differently. So the tower still has water, but your ground storage tank and everything to put the water into the system is dependent on that water well. And my issue is that I do not want to abandon all the infrastructure property. So what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to create a bypass from our system. And what would happen is this would have something, it's called a clay valve, an electronic valve that would be monitored by SCADA. And when the tank lowers, so predominantly at night, the valve will open and refill the tank so I can continue to storage. This quote is from Tetra Tech. We used them before, and it's at $11,700. It was the cheapest quote to have the engineering done. TCEQ, once again, they require an engineer plan to make these kind of changes, and they got to approve it. So I can't do anything, and you do have a tank sitting there not in service without the ability for me to do anything until we get a plan and we get approved from TCEQ.
Where's this tank located?
This is the one at the courthouse. It is the biggest ground storage tank we have in the system. So, and it is offline right now.
So that water well's gonna be kept.
I'm looking to go ahead and cap that water well. Looking at some numbers, I want to bring it out, and I need to say something. But looking at some numbers, historically, the highest demand in the city was 2.5 million gallons a day. The 3 wells that we do have and that are in operation, which we have 2 new ones, and then we have the Buckley well, which is an older well. Not quite in the position of the courthouse, but it's getting there. We are able to produce 3.4 million gallon a day. So that if you see that our highest amount is 2.5 and 3.4, with growth in the city, not today, but here in the future, we need to start talking about and thinking about another well. Now, this is going to be motivated by any growth that happens in the city. So, but it is something that I'm thinking about in the back of my head and something that's probably going to need to happen. One problem that we have, the site is crowded. I do not have the ability to drill another well at the Carrizo site. The well that we're putting out of service is the 3rd well drilled there, all the way back to 1919. So they've had 3 different wells drilled there. There's no room. So the city will have to really make a decision here. And what I'm thinking we need to do is try to start to acquire a property very close to that well site, so that what we can do is drill a well there, run what we call a yard line over to the ground storage tank, and fill it from there. It's pretty common that they do that. they have other places in Dilley, for one, they have wells throughout the city, and they have lines that go to a purification plant. And of course, they have purification plants because their water quality is not what ours is. But it's done, and it's a normal thing.
Is that property catty corner to that tank? Does that belong to the city?
That does not belong to the city. There's a private owner at this point that Mr. Dovalina knows.
It was a property owned by a family named Gwynn, I think, and it was originally donated to the library, and the library gave or sold the property to, they were going to build a children's museum there with the Laredo Area Foundation on some money that Bill Cotulla left to do that property, to do the building. But it's a big area. I mean, it's a block. So you might want to approach them and see if they would consider it.
Area for it.
That's the property that I would like to acquire, because it's going to be the cheapest to get to.
Correct.
Everything else is pretty occupied all the way around.
That's correct.
So definitely. So but tonight I'm really asking for us to have the 11,000 so the engineering firm can go ahead and do the design, and I can get a bypass in, and we can continue to use our storage.
I'm for it.
Take a motion.
I'm going to recess for a minute because the mayor went to the bathroom. They're ready to make a motion, Mayor.
Ready? So that property right by the library, somebody brought it up that they wanted to do a splash pad there too, because they said it was perfect, but we might need that for water. So I guess water for the city is more important, so. If there's no further discussion on item number 12, I seek a first motion to approve item number 12.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Sertuche, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 13, discussion and possible action to approve a proclamation for Day of Prayer.
So this year, I believe Mr. Moeses, he was
Pastor
gonna-
Moses.
Yeah, Pastor Moeses was going to attend the meeting to speak of this. So we had no reply from him. At this point, I would probably ask to table it.
Table it.
Yes.
Councilman, I seek a first motion to table item number 13 for the next meeting.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Sertuche. I need a second. Second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. I believe item number 14 follows also as number 13.
Correct.
So I'll read number 14, and then I ask for the council to table it.
Aye.
And 14 reads as discussion and possible action to approve a proclamation recognition Community Action Month and SCT as Community Action Agency. So I seek a first motion to table it for next month. First motion is made by Mr. Sertuche. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 15. Discussion and possible action on a request submitted by Paul Corley, general contractor for Dairy Queen, requesting for permission to park RV on construction site for a duration of the project.
So this one here is actually the RVs at the Dairy Queen that they're currently using to, I guess, to stay in while they construct and do the remodel of the Dairy Queen. The gentleman was notified by co-clients, and if he was aware, he wasn't aware, he did submit a letter to us. And he is trying to do the right thing by getting permission. I would imagine, I don't have a direct date of how long the project's gonna last, but I would say 2 months and they'd probably be out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I know in the future it's gonna happen again.
Absolutely.
They're gonna bring RVs because they don't wanna pay hotels.
Right.
I would like to see if it can be added to the permit, if they're gonna reconstruct a business or anything like that, and they're gonna bring their own RVs to live in, it's because Cotulla is really losing money. Them
Yeah, the
staying in
citizens
there.
are. The citizens are also on this aspect. We can, Mr. Zatucci, we can look into it and we can see if that's something we can do.
Well, the city currently passed a special use permit ordinance several years ago that only allowed those in, when we had a declared housing emergency.
Right, and it was a temporary permit, and I think
Yeah.
it's since been expired.
Right, so we're not doing any of those anymore.
It's pretty much case by case at this
I
point.
mean, there are locations very close to where he's at where he could easily rent
Right.
a place pretty cheaply. How many RVs does he have?
There's, I believe it's two. There's two back there.
And they're hooked up to city water, city sewer?
Yeah, and that's another issue. But I do see a hose running to them. When I went past, I see that he has a water hose, but I do not see where he's connecting to any sewer.
I mean, I know there's plenty of RV spots around outside of the city right down Pena Road, even though that intersection's closed right now. I mean, it's up to you, but you could have people complaining about it.
That, or they can just pay a permit fee, you know?
Yeah, there's
The
no.
problem is we don't really have a permit. for
Well,
that.
no, only for the commercial contractors that come in, the city can charge a permit fee for them.
You would have to do an ordinance in order to be able to create the permit fee.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not really housing. It's more of construction.
correct.
You know, I guess it's more like a man camp is what it is than anything else.
Yeah, and most of the times it only lasts 2 months to 6 months, 8 months, and then they're gone.
You know, we've never required man camps to, I mean, those are actually little houses. But I don't know, what's an RV spot in Cotulla going for now for a month? $100?
Yeah,
$200?
maybe a little bit more than that, but
Probably 3 to 4.
It's 450 and up.
Really?
KOA is charging 800.
wow.
Why can't it be part of the construction?
I suppose you could do that because, I mean, I think the RVs we were trying to regulate back in 2011 or 2012 were like, I'm living here, you know?
Mhm.
These are,
Temporary.
you know, but we don't have anything in our permit fee that allows us to do that.
No, there is nothing for, as far as permit. This has been a case by case basis that has came to council. The honest people have come to council. So you do have, of course, you're gonna have some that are in town that they said, okay, we're just moving in and we got another radar and we're gonna do it. You
There's
know?
nobody in that RV. What are you talking about? Right?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly
You
it.
see the water hose in there, lights on, you know.
That's right.
Air conditioning on.
I don't think it's a big enough deal to make a big deal about it because I think it's really just like just a construction site trailer. He could say, well, we're just using this to keep records and heat our
Yeah,
food.
like an
or
office and
something.
stuff, yeah.
I would understand one RV to declare it as a living quarters and also an office, but not 3 of them in one
I
site.
think he said there was 2.
I think there's two
There's
of them. There's 3.
3?
So I thought I saw 2 out there.
That's all 2.
There's another one that is a living quarters also. It's right beside the other 2 RVs. It's converted.
So when these guys come in to like build the Loves over here, which is now in the city limits, are there RVs out there?
There is not.
Okay.
They do have a construction trailer, but that's obviously for the operations. So there's no RVs or any living quarters of any type.
Nobody's living in there.
No, that's mainly an office there where they just conduct business.
Well, at least they came honestly, you know, asking for permission.
Because he's running water.
That's because Joey went.
Yeah,
Code enforcement,
we actually had to go out there. and
Joey went
notify
out
him.
there.
He did just kind of move it in there and say, I'm gonna do it. and we had to notify him. But he did work with us, and there was no hard time about it or anything like that once we did notify him.
Could we create something to include that on a construction permit?
It is, and I think that the difference between the true RV and what this guy's doing is these guys aren't really permanent residents. They may only be there while they're working and they go home. You know, the true RV could be there for 2 or 3 years, you know, in an RV. I think if you wanted to do that, you could tell them, hey, look, yeah, we're gonna let you do it, but you know, you're gonna have to pay us something in addition to what you're pulling on your permit fee. We'll come back with you. You do it. And, you know, if there's a consensus here tonight, you know, $250 a trailer per month or something, and then come back here and then just bring it back to the council next month.
Right. So then we would go ahead and establish an ordinance. So is that
Or just amend what you currently have.
Yeah. Okay. So that would be for the council to decide.
On the permit fees
Yeah.
side, I mean,
It is difficult.
construction side of it.
Workforce housing. I mean, we used to have a lot of them here, and now they're not that these guys would have wanted to pay the price for that.
$1,200, $1,500 a month.
So should we grant them permission, or should we table this? Are we coming back, or what are you requesting we do, Counselor?
Well, I mean, if it's the consensus of the council that you want to do it, just instruct the city administrator to tell them, hey, yeah, we're going to do it, but we're going to tell you how much it is next month.
We can do that.
You know.
We can do that.
And
Councilman,
I don't
any
know,
questions?
What do you think a reasonable couple $100? But they shouldn't be connecting to the sewer.
Yeah,
They shouldn't be putting electrical
They
there.
need to have independent taps. That is a whole other issue to this. And
Cross
it
connection.
is cross connection. It is not allowed. And technically, I should be shutting down the whole project because of it. He should. That should not be happening at all.
Go tell him.
So
Tell him to bring his own water and connect it that way. How are they plugging in?
They have a pole,
they put in a T-pole.
a portable pole they created.
Even better.
Okay.
So I just know there's precedence because maybe 3 to 4 months ago we allowed somebody to move in one next to Uncle Mo's for construction purposes. So there is a precedence that the council has made on this. Now, as far as the water, you know, that's a different deal, and we
I
will
think there's
address
a
it.
meter
I
there,
have
though,
authority to address
right?
that, but there is for the Dairy Queen, but not for RVs. So you are creating a cross connection at that point.
It's always going to be an issue, and you decide here in the meeting you want to do something because you want to help somebody out, and the next thing you know, you got 10 people complaining about it.
Yeah.
So you know, it's up to the council, but I think if you see that as something that may continue to happen in the future, and you could say, hey, look, what is the value of the permit? You know, I mean, what's the cost of that project? Do we know?
I would have to find out. I do not know. I'd have to find that out. So, and I know our Jennifer, our permit clerk, would have that information. So,
Well, they're cross-connecting the water, which is a no.
correct.
You know, we don't know where the sewer is going. Maybe I'm sure there's a tank on the RV itself, but it's got to be flushed.
Right. It's got to be flushed.
Maybe the thing to do is, you know, come back. But you said they're going to be there 2 months, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming that it would be about 2 months. It doesn't look like they're doing a total knockdown of the building. It looks like they're going to do a renovation.
Yeah.
So it's not going to take them long.
I was just thinking of making it part of the construction fee, and just asking how many RVs are you going to bring in, and how many months are you going to be here, and you just charge according to that.
Correct.
Instead of, and I understand what David is saying, but those are not going to be permanent, so you don't need a self tap in and a self tap in for the water and sewer, because they're going to be gone in
Yeah. The
2
problem
to 6 months.
is if he's running water from the Dairy Queen to the RV.
And I'm sure that he's using the sewer line there too.
Maybe. I just haven't seen
So, but if you charge a fee, I think as part of a permit, it should should be okay. I mean, I think, I mean,
So you have a fee schedule. You're gonna have a permit for construction only, and I'm really wondering where's this gonna lead to the point of having RVs in the back of people's houses just because they want to pull a construction permit and then they don't pull them out. You know, I really think that the way we are doing this right now may be the way it needs to stay, by case.
Correct.
So for myself, you're leaving too much open. You know, we're saying, okay, well, I'm going to pull a construction permit because I'm going to renovate my house, and then they say, oh, well, it's going to stay there permanent, and it gets forgotten. You know, or something happens.
And one of the things I've noticed, I don't know if it's happening like this or not, that individuals that go get the permit, just pay for the permit, whoever's allocating the permits or send somebody else to go to that location and see what's going to be the scope of work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's how you can determine what to charge them. That's how.
Correct. That is a loophole right now. So, because we have code compliance that generally was supposed to be doing that. But currently I do not have an active code compliance, and I do not have anybody on staff licensed nor working under a licensed code compliance officer. So we are in a position where we have a problem right now.
Correct.
You do the I guess, on basis.
Right. I think it should be case by case for now.
and I was just thinking, I understand what you're saying, Dave, but I was trying to keep it on the commercial side only.
Right.
On the commercials, not somebody wants to renovate their house. Well, I mean, we've said no to a lot of people, but, and that would be on a one-to-one basis.
Okay.
But on the commercial side, I mean, I think.
Well, you could also say how many RVs you can have per employee.
Right.
And that's, again, on the commercial side.
You just indicated that you set a precedent when you let that lady come in here with an unknown project that you allowed. You've not monitored that lady. She lives there. And you're now saying that it's okay to do a cross connection, even though you know it's illegal. And you're saying that I'm going to charge you a permit and somebody's going to complain to TCEQ and they're going to fine you for doing what you're suggesting at this meeting that you're going to do. So if it's illegal, why even bother with it?
Correct.
You're right.
I mean, there are RV facilities here in town. They can go rent them. They can add them to their construction costs.
So
It's
they're
no
gonna
big
have to
deal.
move them
Yeah,
out.
they would
Move them out.
that would be the recommendation.
But,
Yeah.
but
If
what
you're
if,
opening
what
a
if one of the
This-
guys says, this actually is where my little office is. You just say, hey, take the hose out of there.
Yeah,
You
then
can't,
at that point,
you
yes.
can't do that.
But I would like to probably inspect and make sure that it's true.
So construction office is okay, but sleeping,
Sleeping quarters, no.
right. Okay. I agree with Mr. Dovalina because every time you try to help somebody out,
They take advantage.
it blows up in your face.
So they're asking for permission on item number 15.
I would suggest approving one construction site trailer that needs to be inspected to
The
make sure
office.
it's connected correctly, and the other one, he's got to get it out of there.
Well, connected correctly is not gonna, they're not gonna be connected.
Well, they can bring their own water. They can bring a water reservoir.
They could, as long as it's not connected to anything else, he can use his own water. So like, it cannot be connected to the
Yes.
restaurant, it can't be connected to anything
Right.
other than the RV.
So item number 15, approving only one RV connecting, providing that it uses its own water and has its own sewer reservoir, and it's meant for office use and office use only. I seek a first motion to approve item number 15 with those conditions. First motion is made by Mr. Sertucci. I need a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye. Nobody says aye?
Aye.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 16, discussion and possible action to proposed contract submitted by West Texas Gas for 1 year or 3 year fixed gas price and naming David Wright Jr. as an authorized signator.
Sorry, the reason I'm asking for this, last year, for a large portion of the year, we were paying $10.50, $9 per cubic foot of gas. The pricing, back then, we looked at contracts, and the contracts were similar to such, $9 and $10. And that would have locked us in for a 3-year period at that time. So we decided, and we said, okay, let's wait. Let's see what comes out of the market. Since that point, the market has changed. And as you saw in the report for the gas, we're paying $3.80, $3.90 per cube at this point. The concern is, and unfortunately, things that happen in the world affect gas prices. And we do have a lot of turmoil, Russia and through Ukraine. So it is the assumption that the gas price will go back up at some point. West Texas Gas, they are our provider of gas currently. They are who we are connected to. And if we wanted to connect to somebody else, it would take a lot to get us to somebody else. They have came to me with a contract with a 3-year, well, it's a 1-year and a 3-year contract. I think it favors the city to have a 3-year contract. The problem is that West Texas Gas will only guarantee the price that day. So the day we're going to sign the contract, that's the day they'll guarantee. So last week I had got a price, and it was for a 3-year contract. It was $5.40. It went up 10 cents since then. So this week I'm sitting, and it'll have to be checked again when we're ready to sign. But we're setting at $5.50 per cube.
That's for 3 years.
And that would be for 3 years.
And 1 year is what?
1 year is $5.
It'd be better for 3 years.
Right, because next year we might be sitting at $10 again,
Mhm.
and we're going to be hand over fist losing money like we were last year.
Well, let's suggest for 3 years.
Okay. All right, so pretty much that's where I'm at. But in order to make this work, I'd have to sign that contract because I got to do it right then. And there's no way to get around that. I believe they go off of Houston ship channel prices, and those are fluctuating up and down day to day.
Correct.
So
I'll make a motion.
First motion on item number 16 is made by Mr. Ayala, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 16, discussion and possible action on an invoice estimate number 2 submitted by T Construction LLC in the amount of $150,424.85 for the Cotulla LaSalle County Airport Sewer Main Project.
So like the mayor mentioned right now, this is for the sewer main that's going to the airport. And this is a draw on something that has already been approved through council, which was the complete project, but this is just a draw for the project.
This is not including the bore, or it is?
Yeah, well, the total price of the project was $1.4 million. So this will be a draw for that. I don't think the bore has happened
No.
yet. So this is not for that. And there's going to be a number 3 also after this, and it won't be for that either. It's going to be for the amount of line and manholes that they put in today.
Okay.
So and this gets checked, it gets certified by the engineer of their progress and what they're paying.
Okay.
Sir.
On item 18, that one includes the bore on
Has it,
624.
has it been completed?
Yes,
It's
it has,
certified?
and the manholes were taken out of the draw because they weren't raised up to grade.
Yeah,
So they weren't,
I saw the email for
that's
that one.
completed, so
Okay.
that, I just wanted to let you know.
So 17 and 18
The
are both-
97 bore is
Yeah,
not
they're both
on these invoices. Contracts.
They actually reduced the amount of money because the manholes that were originally on, they weren't there yet. So it did get
Yeah.
removed.
There's no further discussion on item number 17. I seek a first motion to approve item number 17.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Sertucci. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 18, discussion and possible action on an invoice estimate number 3 submitted by T Construction LLC in the amount of $285,201.96 for the LaSalle County Airport Sewer Main Project. So I seek a first motion to approve this one, since Jimmy already informed us what it was for. First motion is made by Mr. Sertucci, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 19, discussion and possible action to submit a letter to LaSalle Commissioners Court to enter into an interlocal agreement for roads maintenance and repair assistance.
Would you like to speak on this one, Mayor?
Yes. Commissioner Erasmo Ramirez wanted to just helped us blade all the dirt roads. But I told him that he needed to do a interlocal agreement with us. And he, in due time, he would probably come in and get together with David and identify those streets. Some of those streets do need blading, and it's all over through the precinct 3. So that's basically what it's for, and just an interlocal agreement with them.
Yeah, so that would be the intention, to have an interlocal agreement with the county to blade roads that are either still dirt or they have dirt on the sides, to actually get them up to standard of what they should be. We'd have this approved as a city, and of course, it would have to go through Commissioner's Court for approval and agreement that they would do.
Correct.
Is it only to maintain it with the maintainer, or
Correct.
also adding asphalt?
This is only maintainer.
No millies or anything like that?
That's correct.
Okay, the question is, when they do that, will we have a city employee nearby to see if they won't hit no gas lines, water lines, or anything
Yeah,
like
so,
that?
yeah, and I completely understand why you're asking. Typically, they have to call 811. When anybody starts a project, they have to call 811 locate. And at that point, locate will notify the city that they need to go out there and they need to mark lines, AT&T, AEP, and any of the providers that have infrastructure in the ground. So it is left to the people that are doing the work, the contractor. If they hit a line, there generally would be associated with a fine or a cost of repair.
So a map will come up to our table.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yes.
need a map. We'll definitely need that.
And he will get together identifying those streets, and he can't just say, I'm gonna do this one, I'm gonna do that one. No, he has to come to us and identify those streets. That way we make sure that our water lines are not as shallow, or gas lines, or anything, any kind of easement of that. So,
Do we have an agreement?
not yet.
Not for this particular thing. There is an interlocal for the road project that they're doing, but it's not for this.
Are they gonna submit one? Do they want us to submit
They
one?
want us to submit it.
What is the timeframe,
So-
David, of the approval for Commissioner's Court?
I
Give you a
would
tentative
imagine if this council made the request, it could go on the next agenda for Commissioner's Court, which would be next month. They just had a meeting.
All right, I'll talk to you.
All right.
They meet every week, right?
I thought it was monthly.
Well, lately it's been every week or every other week, as needed.
I know they meet more frequently than we do.
Yeah. All right, if there's no further discussion on item number 19, I seek a first motion to approve item number 19. First motion made by Mr. Rodriguez, I seek a second. Second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Moving on to item number 20, discussion on going out on RFP for the following: employee uniforms, water department parts and supplies.
So I wanted to bring this to the council for discussion. Currently, we are using UniFirst, and we have been using UniFirst for many years for our uniforms. We do not have an active contract with UniFirst at this point. We were paying, I think it was $750 per employee per week for uniforms. At this point, we are currently paying $15 per week per employee per uniform. That is equivalent to $33,496 a year that we are paying for uniforms. And predominantly, these uniforms are people that are working in the field, because obviously the people in the office don't have uniforms. A lot of your department heads, they're not wearing uniforms, even if they did have them. Part of my discussion here is that I worked in the field for a long time. The current uniforms that we have and the kind of uniform that we have is extremely hot. And I sympathize with the guys out there on that. I want to go and I want to find something that's more comparable, more comfortable, and cooler for our staff, but also has a safety aspect. You know, maybe if it means putting on a vest or something like that. So I do want to go out and I want to request proposals from uniform companies. On top of that, though, I feel that including myself, including the council, we probably should you should have your polo shirts. They should be uniform shirts, you know, as in the same color. Myself, I should have a polo shirt or maybe a button-up shirt along with staff members. Same thing within the field. We're going to find something obviously that's safe and comparable for them. And I just wanted to bring it out, and then if there's any discussion that needs to be had about it, I would like to have it now before I actually do it.
It's a good idea. I'm okay with it.
Will they still be long sleeve
Um,
because of the sun?
yeah, I think that'll be an option of the employee that they could have either long sleeve or short sleeve.
Yeah, maybe half
But,
and
but
half.
there's other materials out nowadays, and I think that uniform's like 100% polyester. It's hot.
Yeah.
You know, it is. So I just think there'd be something better that we could offer, and you know, even for morale, employee morale, that it'll help.
And this is just open for discussion.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
open for discussion.
Okay.
So the second aspect I have here is I'm actually looking. Well, the city is looking to go into a contract concerning parts for the water department. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go back a year, and we're going to take an inventory of all parts purchased for a year. I can tell you that right now, pricing, like last year, we spent over $100,000 on parts between Ace Hardware and Ferguson and HD Water Supply. So what I'm thinking here is we have some buying power. Okay, we say, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and purchase $100,000 worth of parts from you, but you're going to give us X amount of discount, or whatever company has the lowest get discount for the same quality part. And maybe we can get some buying power out of it, and we can cut some of our costs that way. So I just wanted to put that in there too, as far as a discussion. So, but this is the intentions of the city at this point, and it's kind of how we'd like to move forward.
And you would bring back maybe a report on a company that you did, maybe one or two, maybe three companies
sure.
that you did,
Yeah, and
and compare pricing on them, or
right. Yeah, we can be transparent, and I can do that. That wouldn't be an issue. We can put it as an item to
perfect.
take a look at it, and then of course approve contracts to low it.
Councilman, any questions on item number 20
No, sir.
for David? All right, moving on to item number 21. This meeting is adjourned, and it is now 8:52.